Hi everybody, how are you? I hope life is treating you good. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for subscribing and commenting. So please comment on this. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because it helps me a lot. My name is not Phil Spector. My name is Dino V, and all I'm going to do here is just going to be a quick video. He always says that, don't you, Dino? Remembering John Lennon on his day, December the 8th, 2024. When I talk about John Lennon, it's really hard. It's an emotional tug at the heartstrings and takes you back to December 1980 when I was a 14-year-old boy. 1980 was the year I discovered that band he was in before he went solo, and I'd got the Red album, and I was getting to know some of his songs. I thought they were really good, and I didn't have one John Lennon album at all. I didn't really know many of his songs at all, but all that changed. Got announced that he was going to be recording again after 5 years, and going to have a new single called Just Like Starting Over. So excited, so I bought the 7-inch single. Loved the single. I think on the B-side was Yoko Ono. Can't remember what track it was. Was it I'm Your Angel or Kiss? I can't remember what it was. But anyway, I bought that. Really loved it. In the charts at the time, I remember there was various songs. I think the Police were in the charts with was it Don't Stand So Close to Me? I think Barbara Streisand was with Woman in Love. I believe there was an Adam and the Ants song there. ABBA with Super Trooper. So I seem to remember they were the big songs, and it was coming up to Christmas. And then I had a morning paper round, and I remember getting up. I was doing my paper round. I was a teenager before I went to school. My mum had left a note on the kitchen table saying, Dino, John Lennon's been shot in America by a screwball, meaning like a madman, a crazy person. I thought, that's bad. Went and did my paper round, came home, got my bike, cycled to school. Now at school, most people, I only knew one person at school liked the Beatles, and her name was Sadie. Yes, as in sexy Sadie. So I thought, I must go and speak to her, see if she knows about, see, it's hard saying it now, about John being shot. So I got to school, parked my bike up wherever I put it, walked over to her, and she was surrounded by her female friends, and she was crying and quite hysterical. And I walked up, she goes, hi dear, and I said hello. I said, it's awful about John being shot, isn't it? And she said something along the lines, yeah, I can't believe he's dead. And I guess I must have went pale white, and I guess my jaw probably hit the floor. I didn't know he was dead. My mum had forgot to say that, you know, John had been killed. She said John had been shot. And I just, you know when you get that feeling when you hear such bad news, your whole body tremors, shivers inside, and your mind's going, what, and you don't want to hear those lines. You want to take it back and it not be true. The whole day at school, I remember just being, I couldn't concentrate on lessons at all. It was shocking, anyone being shot, but a pop star, why? And then it would just come back, and his song starting over like a new beginning. It was a horrific day at school. When I come home, I think we just had a little black and white TV. It was very tiny, and all over the channels we had BBC One, BBC Two, and ITV. I think virtually every channel was Lennon, Beatles. It's just on the radio. It's just Lennon, Beatles. It was incredible, and I was hearing songs. I remember that one. I know that one. I didn't equate that it was John Lennon that had done them. And one that kept getting played besides Starting Over was Imagine. And this was December 1980. You're coming up to the happy festive period, like seeing all the special ones, the loved ones, the old and the new. And it destroyed, I don't know, I'm laughing. It destroyed that Christmas December. It was so, so sad. And that night, I remember going to bed, and I had like a music cassette player, and I put my earphones in, I'd sit listening to the radio, and I remember that night, in fact, before I even went to bed, I remember watching TV and crying, and I couldn't understand why I was crying at a person I'd never met, didn't know much about. I just couldn't, it was like a member of the family. See, just talking about it takes me, this is why I don't talk about Lennon or play him so much, because it's too upsetting going back to that time. So on TV, it was on all the time, and I remember just sitting crying. It's embarrassing as a teenager boy to cry in front of family. And even I didn't understand it. The year before, my granddad had died, 1979, and I didn't cry half as much when he died. But Lennon just hit me. I think it's because they're playing the music, and I realised the music's some of his songs and just how beautiful they were. And they tended to play a lot of the ballads, and it's just heartbreaking. Went to bed because I had to get up early next morning for paper route, and I had my earphones in. I remember listening to it on the radio, and it must have been 10 o'clock. And just before 10 o'clock, they played the one that crippled me. It was The Long and Winding Road. Oh, I just remember going to sleep, and I was like a flood of tears. Next morning was almost kind of worse, because every newspaper I had to deliver had John on the front. Daily Mirror, The Sun, the Daily Star, Express, whatever newspapers there were, it was horrendous. And if you ever have a paper out, when you pull the paper out, you have to look at what number it is on the front of the paper, written in pencil. So, for example, it was 26 Forfar Street, 26, you put it in. So every single newspaper I delivered had John looking at me, either as young, as older, or with the Beatles, and I just cried the whole paper out, going round and round doing it. It was horrific. And it was the last thing I wanted to see, but I couldn't escape it because I was working, I was being paid money. Every letterbox I shoved the newspapers through was just heartbreaking. In the next couple of weeks, they posted, I seem to remember it was the National Enquirer, they posted the last picture of John Lennon. So the last picture was the picture when he was dead. It was the National Enquirer. There was no internet, just the free TV channels and the radio as well. And just not losing my train of thought, I just almost don't want to think about that December 1988. But what happened was more of his songs were being played on the radio, and Happy Christmas, War is Over. I didn't remember hearing Happy Christmas, War is Over till December 1980. I don't remember hearing Imagine before, but they were in the shops, and I went and bought them. And John went back up to number one. He went to number one with Just Like Starting Over, and we expected him to be number one for Christmas, but unfortunately, Winifred's school choir stole his thunder. But after that, he did get to number one with Imagine, and then he also got to number one with Woman. I remember sitting around my nan's, bawling my eyes out again, because you've seen the video for Woman where John and Yoko are walking around Central Park. It's just heartbreaking. I remember maybe when I was 14, it was the first time I really thought of not humans, but maybe human frailty. And it showed the footage outside Central Park, outside Dakota, of all the fans saying all we need is love and remember love and why. There was various cards by fans. And it kept saying that, he'd been to the studio, come back with Yoko, got shot outside the apartment, and he'd come home to go upstairs and say goodnight to his little boy, Sean. And I remember thinking, if it's bad for me and it's bad for the fans and his family and loved ones and the other members of the Beatles, what on earth are Yoko and Sean going through? Upstairs in the Dakota, all the fans outside playing music, singing along, and Yoko had to break the news to Sean that your daddy's not coming home. Cannot imagine. It was the first time I'd even thought about someone else. I suppose as teenagers we're kind of selfish, aren't I? Just remember it was heartbreaking December. So I didn't plan to do this video, so I just picked a few bits up, and what I was going to do was rank my favourite Lennon albums. I want to keep it short, but I spoke for 8 minutes now just on December 1980, I suppose. So I'm not going to actually rank the albums now. What I'm going to do is, you may have many of the albums, but there's a few things that maybe you should get. If you like John Lennon and you've got most of his albums and there's stuff you want to get which you might not know about, is this. I may be aware, I may have heard of British Radio 1 DJ Andy Peebles, who I met in Liverpool a few years ago. He flew to America, was having an exclusive interview with John and Yoko, and it's recorded on December the 6th, 1980, 2 days before John got murdered. You must get this and listen to this. What happened is, when Andy Peebles come back to the UK and he got on the phone, he didn't even know John had been murdered, and John had promised to Andy Peebles that when he came to the UK he was going to go on his show. It's hard to talk about things sometimes like this, but this was broadcast in various parts on radio, and I remember recording it on cassette, and then years later, I don't know what year, 1990, this got released on CD. It's a very long CD, and John is open, he's frank, he's humorous, and it wasn't the last interview he did, but one of the last interviews. And before this, before John even starts, you've got I think it's Andy Peebles, Yoko, and John just talking, kind of checking the mic levels and everything. You must get this. It's heartbreaking to listen to, but it's incredible as well. In 1990, this is one of the greatest presents I've ever had. My mother got me the John Lennon full CD box set, which covers virtually everything of John's solo career. And what is great is on disc 4, you've got the double fantasy songs and the Milk and Honey songs, plus Every Man Has a Woman Who Loves Him, which Yoko originally did. And what they did was faded Yoko's vocals out and put John's vocals to the fore, so it's like a John Lennon song on that. This is such a stunning box set. I suppose it's virtually all these songs over 4 discs, starting with Give Peace a Chance and ending at Grow Old Me. So that's another one I recommend getting. Also, the Lennon Anthology box set. If you haven't got this, do get this. You hear demos, unreleased songs, track called I'm the Greatest, if you know it. John Lennon parodying Bob Dylan. Is it the great groove in the sky? It's really brilliant. And what is so beautiful on this as well is it's a full CD set, and you get a beautiful book of it as well. You've got Sean on it. It's so cute. So obviously Sean, John and Yoko in Dakota, and Sean's talking about With a Little Help from My Friends, even though he doesn't know the title. And John's obviously got his guitar and mess around the guitar. It's a beautiful thing to listen to, a father and a son. Again, God only knows what it feels like for Sean when he listens back to that stuff. Now, I'm not going to go through the albums, but this you need to get, Double Fantasy stripped down. So basically, disc 2 is the original album, disc 1 is stripped down. And I think, in my opinion, that some of the stripped down versions on this album, which take it kind of to basics without it being produced, are better than the Double Fantasy versions, which are amazing, but there's something raw and underproduced about this. So I'd recommend getting Double Fantasy stripped down, because this is awesome. And also Milk and Honey, which I adore this album so much. I'm a Yoko fan as well. I don't know if you're aware of that. I think her tracks on Double Fantasy are just amazing. In fact, Yoko's tracks on here are more, should I say, the word outrageous and new wave than John's. John's are kind of commercial. Yoko's never been commercial. She's not a songwriter, she's not a singer, but the lyrics and everything on here and how well she sings it is stunning, as they are on Milk and Honey. And Yoko's track, let's find it, You're the One. Listen to the lyrics for You're the One by Yoko on this album. I think she says, in the world's eyes, we were Laurel and Hardy, meaning the press and everyone saw them as a laughter. I think she's in our minds. Does she say in our minds, we were Heathcliff and Kathy? Then she says that, I can't remember all the lyrics now. Then she says, we were a wizard and a witch. But in reality, we're just a boy and a girl who never look back. Milk and Honey, it kind of gets forgotten by the fans. But on this one, this has got bonus on it. What it has got, and I think it's John's last interview on this, and that is really hard to listen to. Don't know if it credits in here what the interview is, but I think it's about 15 minutes. What's it say? Exclusive interview from December 8th, 1980. So on this one, you have to make sure you get the right disc. So on here, there's 16 tracks, the 16th one being John and Yoko interview on this day in 1980. As I say, just talking about it gives me chills, and I must start posting more Lennon stuff, but when I'm doing videos now, I want it kind of to be fun, jolly, and I find it hard to do with John Lennon stuff. I mean, the album's Plastic Ono Band is probably the most honest, heartfelt, raw album you're ever going to hear in your life, where Lennon's opening up his soul, but I can't play it much because it's too upsetting. Anyway, that is the end of what I was going to do. I haven't reviewed his albums, so thank you for watching. Please comment and subscribe, and if you don't like what I say, unsubscribe. And remember, always go and buy Plastic Ono Band products. Thanks for watching. My name is Dino V. I'll catch you soon. Bye.